going on, guys? It's Saturday night in the scale shop. Got a really late start tonight, but got a few things to talk about and do. Looking at my sand scorcher, I haven't seen this one out in a while. There's a lot of things I want to do to it, but I was looking for ideas, so I want to know what Shapeways engine y'all would like to see. When I got it from Richard Cook, and he had the block for the flat 6 that Junkyard Stance sells on Shapeways, but that kit is massive. I think to buy everything for it, it's well over $100, and even counting I've already got the block, and it's so involved. It's got the gun turret looking exhaust and the fans and the blade. I mean, it's just a lot of detail, and it's cool, but it won't fit in the stock rear, or the cage on this aftermarket frame, which is a little bit bigger than the stock one, but not big enough for that. I would like to stick with a traditional VW motor, and I was curious if anybody out there had any recommendations. I found a couple, and it's not real clear. Some of them, are in pieces. Some of them are 2 pieces. Some are 1 piece, I guess. And there's accessories for it. So, just curious if anybody's send me a link to something. I'd like to keep it a Volkswagen engine, but we will paint it up and weather it, make it look good on here. But I'd like to do some more stuff to this. We kind of stalled out on it after I drove it because it was so much fun. But I need an engine that'll fit in that crate, and I like the Stinger exhaust to stick up real high out of the back. And then when we do that, we could go ahead and finally do something with that shiny aluminum bumper on both ends. And I think that'll really help the look. Once and for all, going to fix this front end. If you've been following along, all my builds have this semi-truck front axle, and I've done a lot of different things with them. The old number 2, it just uses actual semi-truck wheels, the dualies. This one, these Mickey Thompson 1.9s from RC 4-wheel drive, they have a different hub setup. It fit a bearing perfectly, and it worked perfect. And same with the number 1 build up there. With those 155 Landies reversed, I was able to fit a bearing right in the center, and it just worked out perfect. But here with the farm truck, had a little bit more trouble. It wasn't working. These G-Made wheels have a standard 12mm hex, which is fine, which the other 2 do as well. But I've been trying to do these adapters. I got these from Shapeways a long time ago. I don't have the right size bearing. They're made to put a bearing inside, and then they slide over and give you a 12mm hex. But all the bearings I've got are the wrong size. They're all a little too small, and I just haven't been able to find any, and I'm not going to order just 1 or 2 ball bearings. So I haven't been messing with it because I haven't driven this thing yet, but we're getting close. I think I'm about to order a speed controller for it, and there's just a few little detail things left, and hopefully we can drive this thing. But I've already got the other side on, and you saw in the beginning of the video, I drilled out a standard aluminum hex. Now, those are from RC 4-wheel drive. I've got a ton of them for some reason. Over the years I've had them laying around, and I drilled that out. And if you're curious, I know some of you guys out there are building these as well. That was, what was it? 13/64 bit. That fits pretty good on the shaft. It gives you movement, but it doesn't give you much side-to-side wobble. Now, I put that on the shaft and put the wheel on, but the wheel still hits some of the suspension stuff. So I found these washers. I don't have a clue what size they are. They were in one of my little home repair kits that you see at Walmart and places. It just has a bunch of random screws and bolts and nuts and washers and nails and things. And it fits pretty well over this shaft, and it gives me just enough spacing that I needed to keep the wheel, inside of the wheel, from hitting that. And if you remember also, this wheel is not set up like beadlock. It is just the inner and outer halves. The beadlock ring is not installed because of these 1.7s are hard and they barely fit around that, and I didn't want the extra width that the beadlock ring would cause. So that creates an issue here in the front with the center of the back half protruding forward. And the problem I was having even with these spacers is it wasn't giving me enough of the shaft from the spindle to get the nylon on the lock nut to actually bite and hold. So when you start rolling it around, one side would undo and fall off, and the other side would tighten up so much it wouldn't move. So in order to fix that, I need the spacing with the wheel, or the, that's the wrong one, with the spacer, the washer, and the wheel to give me exactly the right amount of thread sticking out to put this on all the way and slightly hold the wheel.
I found something on the web about spacer washer in the wheel to give me exactly the right amount of thread sticking out to put this on all the way.
Not cool, Siri. Nobody was talking to you. Go away. Anyway, that was odd. So, gives me the right amount of spacing to get the lock nut on just about all the way, and get the nylon, the thread, where it won't back off as we start driving it. If I can get this on here, I'll show you what I mean, maybe. The lighting's not real good. Alright, so now we're biting into the nylon of the lock nut. Now I can still tighten this too tight where it won't spin because it's just squeezing the wheel. But we gotta find, see, that's not allowing it to spin much, so we gotta find a little more to give me enough movement. It's not going to be as efficient as a ball bearing, but this build isn't, high performance. We're not, racing or anything. So, as long as it spins, I mean, yeah, we're going to have metal on metal, but it's not that big of a deal. Like I said, I don't drive these a whole lot. They're more for show, but I still want it to be functional. Another, like I said, it narrows the track width of the front because this was making it stick out too far. But I think it looks good. It fits evenly with the body. Got my camera as centered as I can in front of it. But yeah, I'm happy with how it's fitting up there. So that's what I'm gonna roll with. At least now the nuts don't fall off. I still got a little bit of camber or toe-in issue. I need to lengthen this just a little more. I need to get some more spacers because this was the closest I could get it, but I really need at least another millimeter on each side. So I'll have to find some, I think those are 2. I need to find some 3mm spacers. I may have some somewhere. But while we're talking about front ends, let's go ahead and talk about the front suspension that I'm designing for the gasser. Alright, so you can see here, I've got it kind of mocked up. It's got a standard Tamiya semi-truck front axle. No drop axle. The silver one, the aluminum one, bare aluminum, is a custom one you can buy on eBay, and it gives you a centimeter of drop. But for the gasser build, it's not about slammed and lowered, it's about lifted and drag racy. So I got the standard axle, no drop, and I originally intended to do a standard leaf setup, but I realized that's not really what that body style of gasser had. They actually still had a transverse leaf like this in the front, and ideally this would be directly on top of the axle, and the springs would be kind of, the shocks would be off to the side, but it's just hard to do that with existing RC stuff. So I've used some long screws. I drilled, it's already threaded through here where I think that's where the actual shocks mount on the semi-truck. And I just drilled it all the way through because half of it was threaded. And I put some probably 30mm bolts through. So we've got the bolt, the Tamiya Grand Hauler shock with an RC four-wheel drive end on it. So that gives us a better end with like a Heim joint on it. Then a washer, it goes through the axle housing. On the other side I have a washer, shackle, a spacer, another shackle, another washer, a lock nut, and then that holds it all together, but you still have some of the bolts sticking out to screw your radius arms onto. And I've got RC four-wheel drive links. Those are 70 or 71, I can't remember. I can't see it on there. 70 or 71mm with a long offset head rod end that I've got a bunch of. And now I just have to make the mounts off the body to where this can bolt to and the leaf spring can bolt to, and then we'll have to make some shock mounts. But it looks like the bottom of the frame is going to be right here where the leaf is, so it's going to be up pretty high in the front. That's why I haven't cut the chassis yet, because I'm still iffy on the ride height, and I need to sort that out with the suspension first. So now that I've got my front suspension in place, I've still got to find some spindles and the pins and stuff to hold for those. All I have is the actual axle. So I need to get some more parts before I can really I can put a tire on it and see how it's going to sit before I know where I need to weld mounts onto the frame. And I'm going to try to do as much prep work before I cut the chassis in half, so that everything can stay equal and balanced from side to side. There won't be any discrepancy. I don't want this radius arm mount and this one to be off any at all front to back. They need to be identical, and I need to do as much of that as I can while the chassis is still a square tube and not cut in half. But yeah, I don't see any reason why this won't work. The shackles allow the spring to compress, and I will put other leaf springs on it. It won't just be the one. We'll just have to play with the stiffness. And the shocks also have the coil inside, so it's going to give us, it's not going to be a crawler type suspension, but it's going to give us enough suspension to function. And I've offset the rod ends up because the chassis is going to be quite a bit higher, so any way I can get that mount up. I can't just angle this up real far and bolt it to the chassis, because then my steering and everything is going to tilt forward as well, and it's gonna cause all kinds of problems, and it's going to look funny with the axle actually hanging down like that out from under the frame. So the mounts on the frame have to drop down. If you've seen any 80s or 90s Ford trucks, 4x4s, they have radius arm type suspension. You can kind of see how that works, and when you lift them, you have to do a radius arm drop bracket to bring this end of it down so your suspension and everything stays parallel with the ground. So all the geometry, the steering and stuff doesn't interfere with function. But that's where I'm at on that. It's not a lot of progress, but it's, I'm really not going to rush this build. I've got to finish up the number 4 here, and I've got a lot of other projects in the works and things happening. So that one is definitely, I've got it just about all planned out. Once I get the chassis going, get it cut and welded, and then we can start bolting it together, then it's going to get interesting, because I'm really thinking about doing an RC 4-wheel drive V8 in it. It's another delay because I won't have the money to buy that right away, but that's what I'm thinking, because it's the way the chassis, the body's going to set up so high, there's just no, I don't want to have an RC component and a scale engine separate. It's going to be too bulky. So I think that may be the best bet. Plus, with Exclusive RC's new intakes and stuff they have for the RC 4-wheel drive V8, they've got the perfect one for it. So if you haven't seen that, check it out, because it's pretty cool stuff. We've got some good stuff. Alright guys, next up for Saturday night, I bought that axial deadbolt. It's the RTR. It was $2.99, but it came with a lot of extra parts trees, and in it was this chain steering wheel. It does have an axial logo in the center, but I thought that would be fitting for this RatRod build. This body does have a steering column kind of mounted or made into the dash, so I cut the shaft off the back side of this and drilled it out a bit. I'm just going to use hot glue to put it on, because it's going to be the easiest. I don't want to have to get the plastic cement and all that stuff out. But I just painted it silver with a paint marker. Nothing fancy. I mean, you're just barely going to see it. But I think it'll look the part. It'll fit the build. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that in here. My hot glue gun should be warming up. So, easy enough. Just that had a shaft on it that stuck out, I think, a few inches. I just clipped it off, drilled out the center, roughly about the right size for that post inside the body. You can see it there sticking through in the windshield, and I don't know if the lighting was better. You can see it on the side. There you go. I'm not sure about seats or anything yet. It's all going to depend on electronics. I did sell a thing on eBay tonight. Somebody bought some that Jeep JK body from me. So I've got a little bit of spending money, so I'm going to do some shopping for a speed controller. I don't know. I need a brush speed controller, obviously. Just got a can motor. I'm really hoping the gearing in that R4 is better. I think the main problem I'm having with the number 2 back there is just that disruptor transmission is just so low geared. That is on the list of things to do. I do plan on getting a different transmission for that, and we'll swap it out and take it for a test drive. I'm just not sure yet what I want to do. I'd like something that you can adjust the pinion and the spur. So I was thinking an SCX10 transmission, but I'm afraid it might be a little too tall. I don't want to be able to see it from the windshield. But any suggestions on compact transmission? I was thinking also, what is it, the HPI Wheelie King one. It's the same transmission that they use in RC Model X crawlers. And I think it's, is it a 5-to-1? It might be too low as well, but it's super compact. But I don't know. I'm still looking into that. Alright, so we were talking about the SCX10 earlier. I took it out for a little run earlier just to see it with the new body. I'm not a fan of Lexan, but it's a monster truck, and the monster truck body looks the part on it. Because, they don't always have real headlights and grills. Sometimes it's just a fiberglass body with stickers, so it looks alright. I kind of was going for Bigfoot blue, but it kind of came out darker. And it was really cold when I was painting it, so you can see where some of the silver backing ate through the blue. I've already got it pretty dirty, and I rolled it a few times and had a little fun with it, did some jumps. But I'm starting to get a problem in my front suspension. Well, not so much the suspension, but the front axle. And I'm sure it's because of these tires. Alright, so what's going on here is the end right here, where the C-hub bolts to the axle is loose. It's not, the bolt's loose, it's just, it's moving a little bit. I noticed after a few little jumps that I started to get some pretty bad camber. And it feels like all the slop is in the C-hub. So I'm thinking that's probably going to be the first thing I have to upgrade on it. The extra weight of those tires with the wideners, it's just a bit much for it, I'm sure, because that's all just the plastic kit stuff. So any recommendations you might have for where to, or what brand, or what style of upgrade I should do for that, let me know. Because like I said, I haven't done a whole lot of crawling with the SCX10. I haven't had one in a long time, so I think that's definitely on the list of things to upgrade now. So I don't want to snap it and snap the actual shaft. I'd like to just go ahead and beef up the outside. I still need to upgrade the drivetrain because it's just not fast enough. I don't know. I forgot how slow it was. I got excited to go drive it with the body, and it's it'll still kick up the dirt and have some fun, but it's a good speed for a child. If you got a kid that's new to RC, then that's a good speed. You can still get a little air with it, still do donuts, still roll it about 3 times, and you turn sharp full speed. But as an adult, and I would like something a little peppier. So a lot of y'all said I have to go brushless to really get that out of this, and that's on the to-do list as well. But again, that's money. But yeah, overall I like the look of it. I'm really happy with how the body came out. I tried not to overdo the stickers. I went through all my stickers I had. The number is from the Sand Scorcher, and I just stuck some stuff I had. I got my RC hub, the J concepts, the lights and the grill, and all the stuff that come with the body. And yeah, I had those RC Everyday window stickers for a long time, and I never used them, so I was like, well, kind of works. Alright guys, I'm going to wrap this one up here. Keep it kind of short. It's been a long day. I didn't get to spend as much time out in the shop as I thought I would, but I'm going to have some more stuff in the works for tomorrow. If you haven't seen it yet, I did start a second channel. It's not RC, but it is a custom toy channel. Before I did RC and all this stuff, I used to do custom vintage, like Tonka trucks and stuff like that from the 50s and 60s. And there's a link here at the end of the video. You can check it out. You don't have to subscribe. It's going to be a slow start, and it might interest you, it might not. It's no big deal. It's just something else that I've done, and I'm kind of thinking about starting to do it again, so I figured I would document it along the way. It's how I started this channel and how I got to where I am with almost 18,000 subscribers now, which is pretty wild. It's been about not quite 4 years, and it's gotten so big this last year, and it's pretty cool. I appreciate everybody watching. I really do, and that's I couldn't do this without you guys. I'd still be here playing with stuff, but I don't think the ideas and stuff that we share and the comments and the friends that I've made through it all have really made the channel what it is. And it's turned into something way bigger than I ever thought it would. So anyway, guys, oh, I forgot one more thing. The ramp truck. I've been talking about building a ramp truck for my RatRods for over a year now. I had Facebook memories of ideas and stuff from last year pop up. It is in the works. I've been talking with Nightcrawlers 3D, and he did a test print of a body. And I mentioned on Facebook it is a Chevy body, and it is an old Chevy body. So look forward to that to come. That's a long ways out. I've barely gotten the gasser started. I've got to finish this build up. But we'll be showing you the body here before too long. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Everybody have a good weekend and have fun with the hobby. I'll see y'all in the next video.